This is day 2 of our road trip from Florida to Oklahoma. And we started out yesterday. We got a late start leaving Chiefland, and we headed up to Pensacola. It took us probably about six and a half hours, I think. We arrived at nighttime, and as soon as we got out to Pensacola and on out to Pensacola Beach, the fog set in. And anyway, we had a real restful sleep in the parking of the beach at Pensacola Beach. And we got up this morning and we are on the road again. And well, it's not such great weather to explore, but we'll kind of show you what we see as we roll out of Pensacola. But we are still headed up to see my folks. Today we hope to get up into Alabama and Mississippi, and well, we're just anxious to kind of explore, not only be back in the van, but to explore the south of the United States.
Top down, hear the sound of the breeze carrying us away. Dust in the rear view, free as a bird. This is our time, no matter what they say. Every mile behind only brought us here. Now the road is clear. Shotgun ride on my Friday night. Sunset fire burning in our eyes. Let's leave the past in the past and deal with it another day. All we got is this open road. No plans, just a cranked up radio. Ain't promising forever, ain't no end in sight. Girl, I'm loving the ride.
We are back on the road, but I gotta tell you, I'm pretty pleased with how our wild spot turned out last night. Now, it was just an overnight spot, so it was a parking lot, but it was within walking distance of the beautiful Pensacola Beach. And if you wanted to go there and stay a couple of days, I think Curt already told you about all the little seafood restaurants and live bands and all that all around the area. But for an overnight, it worked out good too, and we are back on the road. We drove through Pensacola, the city of the Blue Angels. Of course, they weren't flying over, or we would have captured that for you. But we made about a 30-minute drive. And what did we do, Curt?
Well, for those of you who don't know who the Blue Angels are, they're military planes. They're kind of, I think, more for show.
Yeah.
But anyway, this whole panhandle through here is all military bases. So there's a big military base. But we are not in the Panhandle anymore. We've crossed the border, and we're in Alabama.
Welcome to Alabama, guys. We are northbound and headed to the next campsite we have picked out for tonight as we make our way to Curt's parents' house. So let's see what we can get into today, guys.
Sweet home Alabama. Skies aren't so blue today.
So our path north takes us up into Mississippi, and we'll actually get there pretty quick. We won't be in Alabama very long today. But we have a few little fun, interesting facts about Alabama. The first one, our van is a Mercedes Sprinter van. So the very first passenger car manufacturing facility that Mercedes ever made outside of Germany was here in Alabama. And I think that was back in the early 1990s. So that's kind of interesting to us because we drive a Mercedes. The other one, a little bit of a funny thing, is back in the early 1900s, there were a bunch of cotton farmers here, and some weevils, some sort of a bug came in.
Boll weevils.
And wiped out the entire cotton crops. Just devastated the area. And what they ended up doing to recover is they planted peanuts. and they ended up making a lot more money off the peanuts. So they ended up being very thankful to this weevil, and they built some sort of a big statue to it in the middle of town. So that town loves the weevil bug, right?
The boll weevil.
I thought that was funny. And then another one is if you have ever lost luggage when you're flying around and it's never recovered, the airlines never find your luggage. Somewhere here, I think Scottsdale or Scottsboro, something starts with Scott something. There's a town here in Alabama where all that luggage ends up. All of the unclaimed lost luggage from all around ends up there, and they actually have a big store and they sell the stuff, so you can go there and buy stuff that were in people's lost luggage.
Yeah, and if you're wondering about the size of Alabama, you know, we've been to 55 countries, and what we've learned is a lot of states are similar size to various countries around the world. So Alabama would be similar to like Greece and or Nicaragua.
Yeah, in size. So the United States is a really, really big country. Each state is kind of like its own little country. So that's for our international watchers. Was there anything else we learned that was interesting? There was something else funny, I thought.
They are the rocket capital of the United States.
Huntsville.
And Huntsville, which is in North Alabama. We won't go through there. They have a big space program.
Yeah.
And they built some of the first rockets.
Yeah, the first one that took people out into space was built there. I forget the name of it. But Alabama is a pretty fascinating state. Oh, I know one that I liked a lot. The very first Mardi Gras, I believe back in the early 1700s, was not held in New Orleans. It was held in Mobile, Alabama. And they still host a family-friendly Mardi Gras type celebration there every year, but nothing like the one in New Orleans.
And speaking of Mobile, Alabama, we're headed through there right now.
Yep. All right, so that's some fun facts about the state of Alabama. You ready for a break, buddy?
One day, like a tidal wave, a hurricane, like a thunderstorm, the pouring rain, it comes rolling in. And right away, oh, it hits you like a ton of lead. Oh yeah, it'll mess with your head. You won't know where to begin. You can't keep up, you fall behind. You lost your aim, can't clear your mind.
There's a big battleship right over there.
Like a fire burning wild, a freight train you can't stop. Like a nightmare, but this time you don't wanna wake up. It pulls you in, it takes over. You just can't let go of the worst, best thing that's ever happened to you.
Now we're entering Mobile, and there's a few cool things about this city. The first one, and probably the most important for the city, and maybe even Alabama, is the Port of Mobile is one of the largest and deepest in the United States. It is a massive economic engine for the region, handling everything from coal to steel to massive containers and even cruise ships. And as we're driving in, you can see the port in the distance. And I think we're going to actually go right through downtown and get a better look at it as we get closer. But a few cool things about Mobile. Back at the beginning, it was actually literally built on top of oyster shells that the Native Americans had just left big mounds of all around the area. And the early settlers used it to make roads and building foundations. It is still famous for some of its oyster houses now where you can go and have the oysters. Now that we're also talking about seafood, Mobile Bay is one of the only places in the world where a Jubilee occurs. Now, I didn't actually know what a Jubilee was, but it's a rare natural phenomenon that causes fish, crabs, and shrimp to swarm toward the shallow shoreline, kind of like in a daze, allowing locals to literally go out with buckets and just scoop up amazing fresh seafood. I did a quick Google check, and this only happens in the summertime, and all the weather stuff has to be lined up just right, and it also happens before the sun comes up. So it's not something that we're going to see. Now, I've already told you that Mobile was the home of the very first Mardi Gras. And when they do their family-friendly Mardi Gras parades here, they kind of have a tradition that's almost like an obsession. All the parade floats, they don't throw out beads and candy. Well, they do. But the main thing they throw out is moon pies, the little snack that you eat. Apparently, Mobile is obsessed and absolutely loves moon pies.
Now, around the world, if you guys don't know what moon pies are like 2 cookies, and inside is a big, thick marshmallow.
Yeah.
And then it's dripped in some kind of like...
chocolatey stuff.
Yeah, like a chocolatey coating, or there's different flavors like banana or strawberry. Yep. Anyway, very popular southern treat.
And then here in Mobile, instead of dropping a big ball on New Year's Eve or a big apple or whatever places, a big peach like they do in Georgia, here in Mobile they have a giant lit up moon pie that they drop at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. So maybe one day we come up and see the giant moon pie, Curt. I don't know. The next thing is Seattle, a city on our west coast, if you're international and don't know, is known for having rain. It rains all the time in Seattle. If you think Seattle, the first thing you think of is rainy, dreary weather. Well, Seattle gets about 38 inches of rain a year. Mobile is actually one of the wettest cities in our country. It gets 68 inches of rain per year.
And it's raining today.
Yes, it is. So with that, we are headed out of Mobile. It's an interesting city surrounded by water on this huge bay. And there you go, some Mobile facts.
And just like that, welcome to Mississippi. I think we were only probably in Alabama maybe an hour, hour and a half maybe. There's a little kind of piece that sticks down. That's what we came across. But we'll be in Mississippi for the better part of the day. We'll tell you a little bit about that. Arkansas is the next state on board. And so we're moving on.
No G. Watch G. Good try, buddy. Good try. You don't want to get out at the truck stop. All right, we just gassed up the van for the second time on this road trip. And I got to tell you a little story. About 30 minutes ago, we pulled into a Love truck stop type gas station. Mainly because Curt had to pee. And we were going to fuel up, but as we were pulling in, we realized that it was $4.68.
No, it was $4.70.
Well, with the credit price, yeah, the credit price was $4.70 something. But as we were pulling in, we were already in the turn lane, so we were committed to go to Love's. Across the street was like $4.30 something. I don't remember exactly, but significantly lower. So we had decided, okay, we won't fuel up here at Love's. We'll go across the street and fuel up. But as we were pulling out, Curt did an audible. And he decided we weren't going to gas up at either one of those gas stations. Took a gamble, didn't you, Curt?
Roll the dice.
Sometimes
Sometimes you win, sometimes you crap out.
Today he won because 30 minutes up the road, we pulled into a gas station that had it for $3.99.
Which is what we paid yesterday in Florida.
Yes. So we just saved almost $14 by filling up at this gas station rather than the other ones down the road. So good job, Curt.
Actually, It was $15.
Ah, sorry, $15. All right, let's continue our trek through the state of Mississippi. It's pretty wild driving through Mississippi and realizing how much of our daily life actually started right here. If you're a music fan, you have to respect the Mississippi Delta, home to jazz and rock and roll. Even the king of rock and roll had a humble start here. Elvis Presley was born in a tiny 2-room shotgun house in Tupelo. It's a pretty big contrast to the mansions you see later in his life, and it's a good reminder that you don't need much to start something that changes the world. Now for a bit of weird history about Mississippi, the teddy bear actually started here. Back in 1902, Teddy Roosevelt was on a hunting trip in the state, and he refused to shoot a black bear that had been captured and tied to a tree. People loved the story so much that a shop owner up in New York created a stuffed Teddy's bear, and the name just stuck. If you're a fan of root beer, well, you can thank the city of Biloxi. That's where Barks was first invented back in 1898. And while we're talking about sodas, Coca-Cola was actually first bottled here in Vicksburg. Before 1894, you could only get a Coke at a soda fountain, but a local shop owner here decided to put it in bottles so people out in the country could enjoy it too. The most surprising thing out here in Mississippi, though, it's a massive cactus plantation in a town called Edwards. It's actually the largest in the world. You don't exactly expect to see millions of cacti in the middle of the humid, deep South, but they ship them all over the globe from right here. It just goes to show that if you look around while you're passing through, Mississippi is full of these hidden in plain sight stories.
There has been a driver change. I got us about halfway today. We figured about 6 hours driving. That got us across out of Florida, across Alabama, into Montgomery, into Mississippi, and that will also get us into Arkansas.
By the time the day ends.
That's the plan anyway. You know how when you're on the road, sometimes your plans change, but we had a nice little lunch, and the cats got a nice little walk, but we got distracted and didn't show you guys. So we owe you one.
We're back on the road, and we're almost to Jackson, Mississippi.
Woohoo! And look at all these Jeeps over here.
Take it easy, day by day. Oh, that's what we do. Watching people all stressed out, running through their lives, a game they play, 1,000 miles of sadness. I can be with you wherever, stay at home. Tomorrow, let's stay up until the morning light. Let the sun take care of your sorrow, and I promise the kids will be alright, 'cause we don't want them all stressed out, running for their lives, a game they play. Stay at home or in a foreign land.
Welcome to, get this, Louisiana. We just crossed the mighty Mississippi River, and we actually thought we were headed into Arkansas. I guess we just didn't look at the map closely enough. We must just be catching the northeast corner of Louisiana. But anyway, it was a scenic drive, believe it or not, through Alabama, coming through through Mississippi, coming through Jackson. We started seeing a lot of white flowers on the trees pop, and we just enjoyed the drive. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm excited to get to Oklahoma and see my parents. We just entered into Louisiana with a semi full of live chickens. But we thought we were headed into Arkansas, so we got to sort that out. But we are headed to Mom and Dad's. This is day 2, midday of day 2 of a 3-day drive over to Oklahoma from Chiefland, Florida. And we are having a time back in the van. Tonight will be our second night back in the van. And last night we were in Pensacola and had a good night on the beach.
I don't think in the last video where we actually had our first night, I don't think we told y'all how comfortable it was to be back sleeping in the van. Our little, we call it the cave, our little bed back there, all snuggled up, G on our little feet. I mean, it was just a perfect night in the van. And I am looking forward to another night tonight. Gonna find a little break spot for our buddy. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh.
At the next stop.
All right, I got it figured out. We turned north into Louisiana. Now, the Mississippi River is just to the east to us, a couple miles, and we're actually going north along the Mississippi. So this is sort of flat farmlands, probably from the old Mississippi River fallout or whatever. But anyway, we're headed north, and we're probably only maybe 20 miles, maybe 30 miles from Arkansas.
Look, buddy. Look. We're about an hour away from our campground, which should be somewhere right around the Arkansas state line. And we stopped for a coffee break. G was yelling, I was getting a bit grumpy. And I don't think we've told you. In Europe, everyone has these kettles, and we were jealous of them, but we couldn't get one because in Europe, they use 220 outlets and we use 110 in our van. But we got one when we got home. We use it at home. We brought it on our road trip here in the van. We went back to our little French press in the van. That thing is just fabulous. It makes great coffee. And we brought 2 little Yeti type cups. Notice this one says the Chaos Coordinator. That is a gift from Deb and Dave up in Atlanta. It suits our life perfectly here lately. Curt's got a little cup of coffee. G had a nice break. Vanna had a nice break. Think it's time to get back on the road, Curt?
Yeah, let's finish this drive up, get some rest, and get up in the morning and go to Mama's.
Welcome to Transylvania.
Are you
funny.
kidding me? There's a big giant bat on that water tower.
Transylvania.
It says
Louisiana.
Transylvania. We are in Transylvania. Wow. And you know, have you guys ever seen the movie The Vampire Lestat? Vampires in New Orleans. It was a movie. I think it was a book that was written by Anne Rice.
Oh, yeah, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise played in it, right?
Yeah.
Look at me knowing something about a book.
Wow. Transylvania.
But is it the real Transylvania somewhere like in Romania or something? Somewhere we didn't quite make it to?
Yeah, it's somewhere over there in Europe. It was on kind of our
But we didn't get
to-do
there.
list, but
Yeah.
we didn't get there. We left a little on the
Yet.
table for next time.
Yet. We didn't get there yet.
But we are almost to Arkansas. We are really close. And we're just coming through the country part here of Louisiana, and we definitely came through a lot of pecan fields.
Yeah.
Pecans, how do you guys say it? Pecan,
Pecans.
pecans.
Either way.
Either way.
You know, iced.
But a lot of these trees have been kind of snapped off, and along through here and along the tracks of this ride, we've seen a lot of branches, and I believe it's from
that big ice storm.
the ice storm. And so I think a lot of these big pecan trees
got
damaged really bad, and the branches fell down, and hopefully it didn't kill the trees. This might be a time of year when they're dormant, but none of them had leaves on it. So fingers crossed a lot of these trees made it. But yeah, that freeze did a lot more damage than I would have thought.
We didn't see anything like that on the TV, but we're seeing it here.
Look at that RV park.
Under the trees.
All around the world, our van by RV standards is huge, and we get here and we're just like,
baby.
We're a baby.
We're a little baby. Our van is a baby in the United States. All the RVs are so gigantic.
This is all just little farms through here, and they have kind of big row crops around. It looks like mostly corn. Of course, there's no corn in the field. I'm not sure when they plant it, but definitely all the signs of an agricultural area mixed with pecan trees.
Pecans.
So over here to the right, you can kind of see this green hill on the other side of the railroad tracks here, and you'll see some structures kind of sticking up. Well, that's a levee, and that's a levee for the Mississippi River, and those structures are like loading docks or storage facilities. And we just came by a big giant cotton warehouse. I didn't get the camera on, but there's different terminals down here along the Mississippi River, and they'll haul supplies up and down the river right through here. And there's also train tracks running through here, so I'm sure they'll use the rail system to run between some of these river ports that they have along here. And up in front of us, I'm not sure, there's several small towns up here, but you can just see this huge silo system up here. And yeah, I would say we're in the heart of agriculture country, right, Snow?
Yeah, it is very dependent on that river. I bet these little hotels are for ship workers. Whenever they overnight here, they shower.
And it's
Pecan market.
there's a little pecan market right there, and it is just kind of, it makes your stomach turn a little bit to see all these ancient pecan trees just snapped off in pieces. My fingers are crossed that a lot of these make it, but there is just debris everywhere. At first we thought maybe it was a tornado, but then we remembered there was some big ice storms across the southern belt of the U.S. I think. So Arkansas is the biggest rice producing state in the United States. And I don't know if this is rice or not. It looks more like cornrows. But as we come out through here, there's all sorts of water pumps we just started noticing. And then there's a series of sort of ditches or drainage or maybe even, I don't know, anyway, around the fields themselves. And it looks like in each of these kind of plats, there's there's pumps. So I think they pump the water in here certain times a year and that they grow rice here. Now I could be wrong, you guys, We just crossed the border from Louisiana into Arkansas. So you people out there who are watching us know, so let us know. But I think we might be entering into some rice country.
As much as it pains me to say this, guys, Curt was right. Crossing into the Arkansas Delta from Louisiana, you immediately feel the shift in the landscape. This is the land of black gold, that deep, dark buckshot clay deposited over thousands of years by the Mississippi River. It's incredibly rich, heavy soil that holds water like a basin, which is exactly why this region is the rice capital of the United States. In fact, Arkansas produces nearly half of all the rice in the country. If you look closely at the fields, you'll see the winding dirt levees used to flood the crops. If you look closely at the fields when they're flooded, which they're not right now, so you just have to trust me, you'll see the winding dirt levees used to flood the crops, creating a shimmering, mirrored landscape that you won't see anywhere else in the United States. But it's not just rice out here. It's a high-stakes rotation of corn and soybeans as well. Most of the corn you see is fueling the massive chicken industry that drives the regional economy, much like the operations we see back home in Florida. It is a massive, interconnected machine where the soil, the river, and the technology all work together. As you drive past these rows, you're looking at the literal heartbeat of the Mid-South's economy. It's a place where tradition meets industrial-scale innovation, and it all starts with the mud right beneath our feet.
Snow likes these big booty bottom trees. See those cypress trees? Not much above the water, but right at the water level. Big old giant anchors. We are going to be spending the night, if everything works out, on this body of water right here to our right.
1.5 mile.
1 minute left, half a mile. So fingers crossed this place is going to work out for us.
Stand backwards. We pull in forward.
I think we want our door.
Oh yeah, then we'll sort of face the water.
Will be on the left.
It says
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!